Hey van fans, today is another mod weekend. I'm actually going to show you a bunch of mods that I've done over the last few weeks. Some right before trips. We've been trying to squeeze a lot in. We've been to Boston. We've been down to the van show, as you guys know, and I have buttoned up a lot of the projects, and I just want to kind of show them off to you guys. So let's start off with kind of from the front, and we'll work our way to the back. As everybody knows, we did the hammerhead bumper with a worn winch in it. I've added the, I don't even know what this is. It's the Agency 6, which is pretty cool. I haven't used it yet, but when I do, it'll be really awesome. Another thing is we're in a state where we have to have a front license plate. So I legit just bought one of these things with American flag on it and mounted a license plate bracket onto it so I can still use this front receiver hitch to for pulling out people and for any accessory that goes into a 2-inch receiver hook. One thing I'd love to do is one of those hammock things. I think that would be pretty cool to put in the front. One thing I'm a huge fan of is these LP6s. These things are incredibly awesome. They're super bright. I love driving with them on. I have not gotten flashed by anybody coming from the other side, but it feels like you're driving with high beams on. They're facing down, but the yellow light makes a big difference, especially for an older driver like myself, and I really enjoy it. So don't know if I should be driving with those on or not. I've driven past cops and a lot of people and no one's flashed me, and I drive a large pickup truck normally and I get flashed all the time. So big fan of these LP6s though. And looking back at it, if I was to redo it, I'd probably figure out a way to do LP6s on the roof as well versus the KC light bar that I did. I was just trying to copy the beast mode, but I think I'd rather go with LP6s up there. After seeing how bright those are and how bright these are, I would just go that direction personally. So under the hood, we've done a couple modifications here. As everybody knows, the horns on these Sprinter vans really aren't great. We went with one that we bought from a box store, car parts store. This one is called the Big Bad Max, and unfortunately you can't really hear these things until you actually buy them. Not really impressed with this. It is better than the factory. However, nowhere near Mike's, and if you haven't heard Mike's, you should ask him to blast that for you someday. It takes your breath away. This doesn't, and maybe that's what I'm comparing it to. We'll probably upgrade beyond this at some point. All we did was we ran the horn wires from the factory horn harness and right over to here. In the future, I'll probably do some kind of air horns or something in here as well. So really nothing else here except for all the wiring for the LP6s and everything else. The winch was super easy to wire, probably the easiest thing I wired on this whole project. The wires, basically, one of the black wire goes to ground and the red wire goes to the starter, so you just connect it right on there and just tidy up your wires. Really easy install when it comes to wiring the winch. The LP6s, if you watched my video before, you'll see kind of how I wired them, because there's a lot of pieces, because there's a high beam and a low beam, and there's also kind of like an amber light that sits behind the lights. So you want to have functionality in all those things, and I wanted them all to be run for my 6-shooter, so I also ran it to that. And I'll show you in the van in a second here. So why don't you join me around the other side. So from inside the van, you're going to see that we've installed basically 3 switches here. So I have this toggle switch here. This one basically turns the 6-shooter on when there's no ignition. If I put it in the down, this is a 3-way switch. If I put it in the middle switch, it basically turns everything off. So the 6-shooter will not work at all. And then if I push the switch on all the way down, then it goes to the ignition. So only when the ignition is on and the truck is running will the 6-shooter work. Just so I can show you how this works without having the truck running the whole time, I'm going to actually just turn it to the up position. So now it will work no matter what, including this. I have 2 switches over here, which I don't know, if I get out of the way, you might be able to see. And basically the way these switches work is I have high beam and, well, I'm sorry, this is a three-way switch, the one on the right. This is high beam for the LP6s, that's low beam for the LP6s, and this is off for the LP6s. This switch here is basically turning on and off the lights, the little small lights behind, which are kind of like a daylight running light or whatnot. So they're just really, they just look cool. So I leave that typically up all the time, leave the LP6s in the off position, and then I control those from here, which is the 6-shooter. And I put this 6-shooter here. You can easily run it, and you'll see a lot of the Storytellers are running them right here. The reason is you can drill a little hole in the backside and then run the wire, which is a low voltage wire, to your cigarette lighter, which is right down here. You'll see there's a cigarette lighter down there. So I just pulled right off of those wires. That'll give you the wires behind, so these will light up, as you can see here. And if you have the app, you can change the color of those lights as well. So right now I have those front lights on. We'll go walk around the van. I'll show you all these lights here in a second. And the cool thing is with these 6-shooters, which I have mounted under the seat here, which I can show you from the other side. The cool thing is you can take this control panel off and you can walk around. I'll meet you around the other side. So, as you can see, I have that first light, and if you look at the LP6s, this is the LP6. These are those lights that are just for looks. This is not the LP6. Let me turn on the high beams and I'll show you. So those are the high beams, and then those are the low beams. And then you can see I can also turn those off and on here from the dashboard. And I can turn them off. Or if I had the LPs on high beam or low beam, I can turn them off and off here as well. You can see also I have the light bar. So from here I can turn the light bar on and off. I also did what we're calling zombie lights, but what are called ditch lights, which are in the front too. We didn't match the beast mode in this position, but we're probably going to put in a little bit higher power lights eventually someday. Then I have the third position, which is my side lights, which are these on the front and the back corners, and they're on the other side. And then I have rear ditch lights, which they don't have on the beast mode, which is here. And then I have rear lights as well. You can see all the way on the back here, I have the rear lights. So we have rear ditch lights, rear lights, side lights, and then front ditch lights, and then the front light bar, and then the LP6s. Also, a very cool thing is you can come in here, and on the app as well, Trigger has an app. So if I wanted to turn on the rear lights, for instance, I can just click that button. You can see they come on automatically there. Another cool thing with this app, which is super nice, is if you're just using it on maybe boondocking or whatnot, and you don't want these all the way at full brightness, you can dim them. So you can pick the brightness that you want of it. Or if you're under attack and you want to scare some people away, you can turn these off and you can go ahead and put these into flash mode. So like everything flashes. So you can see, maybe we can see. So you can see, and you could do this for basically everything if you wanted, and get a really, that would scare most people away, I think. So cool kind of function that you can do with the remote control as well. So we're really happy with the trigger system. We mounted everything under the seat here, under the passenger seat. So the 6-shooter goes right here. I did change out a couple fuses to work properly, to 25 amp fuses. All of the wires come over through here under this little compartment here. You can kind of almost see them a little bit. And then they come up the pillar, the passenger side pillar from the other side. And then let me show you where they go from there. So from here, they go up this pillar. That's easy to pop off, and I showed in my video before, I showed where all those pieces are. They come up, and then they come across, and then under the smoke detector, we cut a hole and then we ran them up to the front. And I'll show you up on the roof what that looks like as well. I don't think there's any other mods. We did the Showtime curtains. Love those, absolutely love those. I would highly suggest them. They're amazing when you're out in the using them. I love them. And then I think that's everything else in here for right now. Let me show you up on the roof. I'm going to bring you guys up on the roof. I'm probably going to have to take a camera when we get up there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. All right, so you guys are going to get to see kind of up on the roof what's going on. I did get one of these bottle openers as well for emergencies, as you can see here, that I mounted at the top of my ladder. Those you can buy on the website for Front Runner. So now as we get up here, you can see how I ran these wires. So all of the wires are coming through here. So when I drilled the hole, I bought one of these things from Amazon, and I ran all of my wires through here. And you can see I have 4 wires coming through here, but 2 of them are 3-wire wires, which I recombined, and you'll see that in the video ahead. Everything comes through here. This is a product that I will also post in there. This is the best water sealing type of product on the market, in my opinion. I own a vintage Airstream as well. I got that from that group. That stuff never dries out. It's way better than silicone. You want to use this type of product versus silicone. I ran the wire harness that goes to the front ditch lights, goes across my KC light bar as well in the back, and you can see kind of pops out here and goes under. That's basically for the KC or the ditch lights. And then everything else comes down and over and down. Just went through the roof here. Goes down the side. I have it connected up to the side of the awning, and really nice and neat. You can see it keeps on going, and then keeps on going to behind the solar panel, and then it goes under the rack at that point and goes across the back side of that. Now I thought I had an ingenious idea with how to hold that up on the bottom side of the roof rack, and that was actually to take a couple of these Front Runner brackets and put them on the bottom side of the cage, and that was going to work perfect. The only problem was the access points where you put them in. There aren't any past this bar right here, and therefore I would have to unbolt that to get that piece over, which I might do at some point, because the other option I did didn't end up working out, unfortunately. But you can see over here I have basically the ones for the side lights and the rear ditch lights and the rear lights all come over for just this one corner here, and then everything's running across, as you can see. So really easy to kind of run. There's absolutely, on this side, there's Annie. On this side, you can see there's no wires or anything on this side at all, which is, in my opinion, super clean. I don't have to worry about any wires pulling or anything like that. So there's absolutely no wires on this side at all of the roof rack. All of the wiring is kept on the awning side and just hangs out with the awning. So, and as you can tell, you can tell what version of what year Storyteller I have by that being centered versus the new ones, which are going to be living over here, the fan, and this would obviously not be there. So now I'm going to come down without falling off the roof, hopefully. Let me see how I do this. A lot easier with 2 hands. Will make for a good video though if I fall. Oh, I got better at that. Okay, so the last mods that I want to show off are on the back of the van. And Andy, do you want to take this again? So we did get the Owl Explorer tire holder, which has the bar on the bottom and the quick release on it, and it's really super simple to install. The only thing I will share with you is a couple things. Number one, when you go to install this, the bolts, you want the bolts to go out with the nuts on the outside. When I put the actual Sherpa on it first, or the Bike 2 on it first, I did the bolts all the way for, I don't know, I just thought I didn't want to see the nuts, and then you realize that those nuts end up in the inside of your hinges, and they don't really explain that in the install video, or maybe they do and I just didn't pick up on it. So I just had to switch those. That was super simple, but just so you know if you are putting one of those in yourself. So that was all super easy. I did drill the hole exactly like they said and everything. Everything was great. The only thing I will share with you is make sure you have all the parts. Alvans, I love your products and I love everything you got going on, but I was missing a bunch of, I had a random bag of nuts and bolts, which I don't understand at all. And then I was missing the shock absorber piece here, the rubber bumper here. I ended up going to the auto parts store and just buying a shock bumper that goes at the end of a shock, basically, which worked pretty good. I was also missing that bolt that goes in there, so I had to buy one over at a big box store just for it to work. But so I was missing those two pretty important pieces, and I already had the hole drilled and was already ready to go out on my trip, so I had to run and get that done immediately. But it did work. That was all great, and I'll tell you, this is high quality. Love it to death. On this side here, we have the Bike 2. That went really easy. The only advice I'll give you based on my video, I don't know where Alvans is getting their long bit drill bit, but the one I had was a piece of junk compared to that. It wouldn't go through that second piece of metal that they're talking about. So I ended up wasting a lot more time than I should have. I would just encourage you to mark where that hole is going to be and then pull this away and drill with a higher quality drill bit, in my opinion. That's what I found out I had to do. So, but outside of that, super simple to install. Anybody that's fairly familiar with tools should be able to easily put both those in. So, and that's what we got for our mode mod weekend. And I look forward to doing more posts like this. If you guys have any questions or need me to shoot a picture of something or anything else, let me know. I'd love to help you guys out. I look forward to seeing you out on the road, and I've enjoyed the people I've met so far that are storytellers. Look forward to meeting more of you. Have a good one.